Hello and thank you for joining me today. My name is Wesley Boudreaux, one of the financial advisors here at the Retirement Group. They're going to give you a quick update on what the pension process looks like for AT&T if you are looking to estimate your pension benefits and then actually collect those, and what the next steps are going to be for you. Now, we've done a lot of work with AT&T, but keep in mind, again, the Retirement Group, we are not endorsed by AT&T, nor are we employed by them. But for those of you who do not know or do not remember or haven't talked with us in a while, just a quick refresher as to who the Retirement Group is. Again, we are an independent financial advisory firm that focuses on working with corporate employees and helping them transition into retirement. We've been working with AT&T folks for about 30 years, so it gives us a great history and understanding of your benefits plans, whether it be the pension, the 401k, healthcare, retiree medical benefits, life insurance, all those different items we can help you out with. So we do have offices throughout the country. So rest assured, if you need to sit down with somebody like myself or anybody else across America face to face, we can still accommodate that. But obviously, this day and age, a lot of the information we can provide you or help you with can be done via web meetings, phone calls, emails, or whatever is going to be easiest for you. Now, one of the best things you can take us up on if you haven't done so before, or it's been over a year since you've done one, because let's face it, interest rates have changed, affecting the lump sums. Also, the market's changed, affecting your 401k. It's good to actually run a cash flow analysis. This is something we want to do prior to actually electing and commencing your benefits, because this will allow us to help you determine the best day to retire. And we can actually run multiple scenarios to show you different options, whether it makes sense to retire now, whether you want to work a couple more years, maybe retire now and work part-time for a few more years. We can go through all those different scenarios and let you know how it looks, not just now, but how it plays out over the next 10, 20, 30 years down the road as well. So it's really important to have a good idea of where you stand before you go through that actual election process and actually commence your benefits. But we'll get into what that process is, assuming you've already talked with us or you have a good idea that you're ready to pull that trigger. So the process is going to be fairly straightforward. First, you have to go through that estimation process where you got to look at getting an estimate of what your pension is going to be. That will give you all the options, whether it be the lump sum, an annuity, joint survivor annuity. If you're talking with us or somebody else, hopefully you've gone through some research and understand what option you're going to take. Then you go through the collection process where you actually do that online, and it's going to generate paperwork for you, and we'll go through the different procedures that you're going to have to follow along in order to make sure that paperwork's done correctly and accurately, so you do get your commencement benefits as close as you can to your retirement date, and make sure there's no mistakes in that process as well, because if you do make a mistake, in which case it kicks into, let's say, next year, if you're looking at that lump sum, it could be a detrimental mistake where it could cost you 20+% in your lump sum. So the estimation process, this again is something we can walk you through if you need help with it, or if you need some screenshots, we can provide that to you. But it's really important to run through and see what your estimate's going to be for your pension before you make that decision to actually commit your benefits. Now, we're here towards the end of 2022, and I can't tell you how many people that we've actually worked with that are just looking to jump ship because they see everybody going, and they haven't even gone through an estimate or run their cash flow analysis. So it's really important to look at that, and we'll be happy to go through it with you. And we're not going to shy away from telling you, hey, you need to stay on for another couple of years, or let you know if you can pull the trigger. But the best way to do that is to actually log into net benefits. You can go into that pension tab, actually that pension section, and at the top there's a couple tabs on there. The summary is the first one. Then you can look at the estimate tab. That's where you go in there and model different scenarios. You may know at the very beginning that, hey, I'm looking at taking the lump sum and I'm looking at retiring in 2022. So you can go in there, you can model to find out if your commencement has to be on December 1st, or if you can go as late as December 31st for your commencement. Those are things you need to be aware of, because if you make a mistake there, it could drastically change that lump sum calculation as well. Now, if you want to compare what it means this year versus next year on the lump sum, that's where you have to look at plugging in interest rates. So we can give you a heads up on that and give you the information on what to put in, so you can see what that actual drop is going to mean to you next year or in future years based upon where interest rates are now. And a quick refresher, we've gone through this multiple times, but based upon interest rates right now for 2022, they're using the November 2021 rates for the segment rates. So they're still very low compared to where they are right now. The most latest up-to-date options we have are from September, and so far that second segment, which has kind of the highest correlation, is up over 2.5%. So for most of you, give or take your age, it's going to be probably a 20 to 25% drop, maybe even higher on your pension lump sum from this year to next year. Another aspect to think about is if you're thinking about taking the annuity, that's not going to change with interest rates. However, we're in a unique environment where actually it's more beneficial for somebody to take that lump sum if they're thinking about retiring now or the next year, take that lump sum and actually annuitize it themselves by using a private insurance company. We're running these multiple times in the last month, and we're seeing sizable differences, anywhere from $300 to $1,000 more a month for an individual or a couple. So it adds up quite a bit. So if you have not gone through this estimation tab, give me a call or give us a call, and we can actually run through this with you, help you model different options so you figure out what the best option is for your pension, and make sure you get that estimation done first. You can also call Fidelity. I've worked with other individuals who have been forced to call Fidelity, unfortunately, because they might have a manual calculation. So again, there is, if you get that manual calculation done before your benefit commencement date, they still give you a leeway to get the paperwork in a little bit after that as well. So once you've gone through that process, you've gone through the estimate tab, and then you know what you want to do. That's where you go in and click that collect tab at the top, and that's where you can go and model and actually put in your information as to how you want to collect those benefits. So when you go through that, they're going to ask you different questions as to what you're looking to do. Are you taking the annuity? Are you taking the lump sum? If you're taking the lump sum, there's a drop down to ask you where it's being rolled over to, whether you want to take it as a distribution to yourself, which you obviously don't want to, because that's going to be fully taxable, and that's a large amount, so you're going to lose a lot to taxes. So you want to make sure you're at least rolling it over somewhere, and if you haven't decided, you can always use the 401k as a fallback. But if you're looking at working with us, we clear through Charles Schwab. There's a drop-down box on there, so you can easily fill in Charles Schwab, get that paperwork generated. And then if you're looking at doing annuity payments, you'll have to go in there and look at the tax withholding, direct deposit forms, and things like that. But once you've gone through all of that, you can go ahead and submit your collection, and then it'll give you a summary. This is kind of an example of the summary. Now, this is actually after somebody's already done it, so it gives you kind of a checkpoint. But I'll zoom in here a little bit. If you look at this, what you'll see is that step 1 has been taken care of, and also step 2, as far as the generating the payment and the different options, has been taken care of. And then step 3, where they've actually submit that paperwork. So what's going to happen is you go through there, it's going to generate the paperwork for you, and it's going to usually take about 24 hours or so for that to come up. So you'll have to log back in probably the next day or so. When you get back in there, you'll be able to download those forms, in which case you'll have to go through there, and you'll get spousal consent on there if you're married, and get those uploaded back. Once you've done so, then you'll see on the top right-hand side of the website, it'll show you to come back and check summary, and it'll give you an update as to where you stand. Or you can always call Fidelity to kind of make sure they got everything, and everything's in process as well. So as far as the actual election information, again, once you've gone through this, you need to make sure that you review your pension benefit election form in the packet. Make sure everything's accurate and all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed before you get that submitted. If you have questions, you can dig into the summary plan description. However, just give us a call. I don't think you want to spend hours going through an 80 to 120 page document, depending upon your department. Those are pretty lengthy, but that is where all the information is going to be. But if you have questions on there, like I said, again, just give us a call. We'll go through it with you. Now, if you are not doing a lump sum, you're taking the pension as an annuity, you'll have to focus on your tax withholding, whether you're looking at having tax withheld from those, and at what level. You look at the different different allowances in order to determine what your tax withholding is going to be. Also, in some extreme circumstances, you may not be may not actually have to have the tax withheld, or you can actually be exempt from the taxes. So again, that's the case where you have to fill out the W-4 and go through that process as well. But if you have questions or want us to kind of give you guidance on what those options are going to be, we can do so. But again, I do revert back to that previous comment. If you're trying to do this for 2022, even if you're taking that annuity, we should probably look at reviewing the options of that lump sum versus your own annuity first. Fast forward in 2023, when the interest rates have gone up and that lump sum's down, now taking the AT&T annuity may be more beneficial for you on the annuity front. So that's where you're going to go through this process and look at the paperwork for that. And then again, if you're married, you're going to have that spousal consent, even if you're not changing the spouse as a beneficiary. So why do you have to get that? So what happens is this, again, it's a RISA plan. So it's a pension plan, in which case a defined benefit. And the fallback is going to be, if you're married, you automatically have your spouse as that beneficiary. If you want to change your spouse as the beneficiary while you're still working at the company, you have to get spousal consent to do that. So as far as leaving the company, if you're not taking a joint survivor annuity, or not taking the annuity, so you're not taking the joint survivor annuity, and you're looking at rolling that over or taking a single life annuity, you're going to have to get that spousal consent on there, because essentially what's happening is if you roll that to a 401k or to an IRA, you now have the option to name another beneficiary. You can name a child, you can name a relative, or somebody other than your spouse if you want to. So your spouse, he or she's going to essentially have to sign away, understanding that, hey, you're taking this out of the ERISA plan, and this goes over to an IRA where you can make those changes if you want to. Now, again, this needs to be done in front of a notary, so do not sign that until you visit a notary, and again, that's for your spouse to sign off. And then if you're in California, there's a little bit extra information that needs to be done, and making sure it's the appropriate notary that's working with you on signing that process. Once you get that, then you go and submit that back through the online system, and they'll give you confirmation they have it. That's kind of the process for the pension packet. Now, there are some potential other options depending upon if you're highly compensated or not. There could be stock options. You may have questions on deferred compensation, that you may have deferred some compensation and it's going to have a payout time frame, whether you set it up for 10 years, 5 years, or maybe immediate payout. If you are subject to the IRS 415 limits, there may be some deferred comp there. Not necessarily most in this case, but in some cases there may be some NUA where you look at the aspect of low cost basis stock. So again, anytime you have questions on some of these items, give us a call. We can walk you through that as well. It's not going to necessarily be for most of you, but at the end of the day, again, a lot of this is digital now. So you're getting those documents, you're printing them, you're signing them, you're uploading them. You're actually docu-signing some of these, but at the end of the day, make copies of all these, whether you download them or scan them yourself or retain printed copies. Go ahead and do that so you have that. Also, make note if you ever call Fidelity and you have a conversation with them about confirmation of items or any questions, go ahead and at least jot down that day and around the time you called, because again, their calls are recorded. So if there's any issues, you can always fall back on that, making sure that that you've got the confirmation of what they told you as well. And then, like we said, you got to return all those pages. Again, they can be uploaded. You can still do them paper mail if you want as well. But the goal is to get these about 45 days prior to your benefit commencement, if you want to make sure that you're getting your paycheck, whether it be a pension monthly paycheck or your lump sum rollover paycheck, if you want to get it closer to your retirement date. So right now, close to the end of the year, it's a little bit hard to do that. Again, the goal is to get everything back to them and get it set up so that you at least commit your benefits for this year if you're trying to maximize that lump sum. But it may not be enough time for them to process the checks. So just keep in mind, even if you get this back to them here, for end of November, early December, it may not be until sometime in January, maybe even as late as February, that you get those checks. But again, as long as you get the paperwork in, get it processed, you're good for those interest rates as well. And at the end of the day, the next step is just going to be make sure that you've, again, run that cash flow analysis to really run the estimate, to make sure you know what's the best choice for you on picking that, on collecting the benefits. And in some cases, it may be deferring out for another year or two and not actually retiring, but we won't know until we run that cash flow analysis for you. And just give us a call. You can schedule a call with myself or one of the other AT&T focused advisors, and we can go through your questions, make sure you're on the right page when it comes time to picking the retirement date and then the different options. And then we can walk you through that collection process as well. We've done this countless times, and we'll be happy to kind of walk you through that and give you some examples as well. And at the end of the day, I've said it more than once, but ultimately we need to look at that cash flow analysis to make sure that you are doing the right thing. If you can spend about 5 to 10 minutes with us, we can gather some data like your retirement date or your desired retirement dates. We can get your pension calculations, look at your 401k, what your desired spending is going to be in retirement, estimate Social Security, all of that will go into that financial plan to show you how things play out, not just now, but over the next 20, 30 years. And that can back into deciding whether you should take the annuity or the lump sum and what's the best year to actually retire. So again, just take us up on that whenever you have time. So I want to kind of wrap this up, but again, let everybody know if you have questions, you need us to walk through that paperwork with you, or you want to double check some of the figures, just call us at 1-800-900-5867. You can also email us at info@theretirementgroup.com. And we've got a couple QR codes up here if you want to pull your cell phone out. One of those will get into the calendars to schedule a meeting with myself or one of the other AT&T focused advisors across America. Keep in mind that our calendars, when you get in there, usually they're blocked out for about a week. So if you're going to schedule it that way, you may only be able to see options a week out. So if you need to talk with one of us sooner, give us a call directly, and we'll get you set up with the time. And then if you want to follow along on the LinkedIn page, that's one there as well. This will get you into the AT&T LinkedIn page, so you can follow along with updates we give you, webinars like this, the updates on interest rates as we get closer to the release of those. and any changes to the AT&T plans as well. But again, I want to thank everybody for joining us for today to kind of go through that process. Again, any questions you have, just give us a call. And I do want to remind everybody, we've been working with AT&T extensively, so we can hold your hand through this. But keep in mind, again, for compliance purposes, we're not employed by AT&T, nor are we endorsed by them. But if you do need help, just simply call us at 1-800-900-5867. Thank you very much. We hope you have a great day.